what's this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson. We're talking all things Salford Red Devils. Joining the show this week, as ever, we've got Paul Parkin. How's your week been, mate?
Hi, pal. Not too bad. It's been an odd little period. I couldn't come on last week on the pod. I had technical issues with my phone, thanks to Apple, which was a bit of a problem. It left me stranded. I got the phone back Friday, went to Hull Saturday, and on the way to Hull realised that it wasn't working again, and found out they hadn't replaced the SIM in the phone. They took my SIM out and not put it back in, so I couldn't receive calls. I couldn't get on the internet. So all day at Hull, while I'm trying to brag to the world what's going on, couldn't get anything. So that was a bit of a pain. I've had a bit of a cold in the last week. I think there's a bit of it going about again. So that I've been a little bit rough. But other than that, everything's wonderful in the world right now.
Yeah.
It's been I think after the weekend, I don't think I can complain about too much, to be honest.
I suppose when you took your phone to Hull, the locals to run a mile when you pull it out of your pocket. They've been like, whoa! Oh, so it's it's a good idea to bring it back and get it fixed here at Parky. Yeah, I've had a been all right week really. Starting my new diet / lifestyle with the doctor having a go at me about me diabetes. So need to sort my life out really. Got the old chat from the doctor. Kind of reminded me of like sort of early 2000s Salford knock on in front of their own post, 14 points down against Ulkiar at home, and that groan of like, oh, not again kind of chat. So I need to pull my finger out and sort my life out basically. So been a week of new foods and new ways of trying to live my life really.
Well, maybe we could do a diabetes podcast between us because obviously, I've been plagued with it for the last 20 odd years. So maybe it's a little offshoot for us there. So, diabetes in the detail, something like that. It's not fun. It's not fun. Any of our listeners will know if they've got it. It's quite life changing, and not always in a great way.
No,
but I think the thing is with it, and we're not going to go into a diabetes rant, but I think it's a case of just doing the right things. Just don't be foolish. Everything in moderation, and life should be okay. I wish I'd told myself that 20 odd years ago when I didn't listen to the doctors, as it appears that you haven't been doing. And you do get a slap on the wrist, and it's not very pleasant. But fingers crossed now we can get old and well together in some way.
We'll be doing this podcast for many years to come, Parker. That's the plan. I think the problem is, Park, it's all carbs, isn't it? Chips, bread, pasta. You know what I mean? It's just a main sort of meal ingredient. So you take that out, you're struggling, aren't you, for stuff to keep you full. But here's what it is. You got to learn, got to live, got to learn, and here we are. Start of the new life.
I think from when I got diagnosed to now, I think I've lost something like 4 or 5 stone. So that says it all. It has a different effect on different people, but and obviously now with my other ailments, my kidney and everything else, I've got to eat other different foods as well. My diet now is all my favourite things have gone. Everything, and especially alcohol, which was definitely top of my list. That's gone as well. So, but it is what it is, isn't it, mate? We live and learn.
I lost 10 pounds in the first week. Well, you always do in your first time, don't you? But
well, Paul Rowley thinks he's got problems. Let's come and live with me.
So there's loads to go at on the podcast this week. We're going to look back at the Hull victory. We got all the big news coming out the club. We've got Whiteside World of Rugby League, and then we've got the preview of the Wakefield game on Sunday. So we'll start with the victory against Hull FC. So Salford Red Devils were victorious away at Hull FC. They won 60 points to 14. Parker, they didn't come to play; they came to slay.
Right, I'll tell you a little story here, and it'll bore everybody listening. But during the week, I was having, as I said, I had a bit of a rough week. I wasn't feeling too good. My phone was playing up. I had, there was various things going on. And I'd booked on the coach, which I will say, by the way, once again, Patrick and everyone who organises it, they're brilliant. couple of coaches we took up there. Everything goes to plan. There's no messing about. Brilliant service, by the way. And for 15 quid to Hull and back, I mean, that's it's unbelievable. So fair play to them. But midweek, I was thinking 30 quid basically for a ticket. I've got my travel money. I've got everything else. Do I really want to be going up to Hull thinking the worst? I know I've been there 1,000 times, but I just thought something about it made me think no. And then, fortunately, my brother basically talked me around and said, well, he was going, so let's go. We end up taking my nephew. And am I delighted I went? I mean, what a performance. Them lads out there were, I had the pleasure on the way back of sitting behind Alan Bradshaw, who everybody knows, and David Clegg, who obviously works at the club and does a lot of good work for the club, history-wise and so on. And we were chatting, and I was asking them, and they don't think they've seen anything like this. Even at times in the 70s, we weren't as good as we are right now in terms of what you watch on the pitch. We may have won more, but actually the entertainment it's first class. It really is. People who aren't watching are missing out, because this is special. I mean, to go to Hull, which is always a fairly tough place to go, and put 60 points on them after going behind as well.
Yeah.
I mean, when they scored first, I thought, here we go, because it came off an error by us. I think, again, overplaying a little bit maybe. And then there was, I can't remember if they got a penalty or a 6 again or something off the back of it, and then went over and scored. And I thought, well, there's the pattern. Knock on, penalty or a restart, whatever it is, try. That's the way it's going to go. Hull had been in fairly decent form. Tex Hoy had just been named Player of the Month for Super League. You're thinking, oh, here we go. And then all of a sudden there was a moment where Tim Laffey was just about to get shoved out of play near our own line, and he stayed in somehow. And that moment could have turned the game in a really weird way. If he gets dragged into touch, they get the ball back 10, 15 from the line. They could go over and score. We didn't. We kept that ball in play. And then from there, the game seemed to turn. And some of the performances from them players were absolutely unbelievable. I think once again, the whole Super League will be sitting up and watching and thinking, actually, Salford are a good team. We didn't play well against Hull KR, but we probably played similar in many ways on Saturday to how we did then. We're keeping the ball alive, throwing. The only thing is, it went to hand. We held it, and that's what we said last year. If it comes off, if rolly ball works, it is sensational. If it doesn't, you could get a pasting, because you're not going to have the ball. You're going to keep dropping it. This week, everything seemed to go to hand, and it was magnificent. From 1 to 17, every player on that park, we were thinking on the way home, who's man of the match? It could have been anyone. It was magnificent.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I don't think Hull helped themselves. No. To be fair, kept turning over the ball like you wouldn't believe, and it kind of feeds into the sort of the Rowley ball mentality of it. If you've got lots of ball, you'll create chances, and that's what happened to me. Like you said, Hull went scored first after a turnover ball from us, and then the Mark Sneed break, which sent over Dion Cross, was a wonderful moment from a top player, and that's what that's why he's there, to make that big moment happen. And from that point on, we were in control. Hull kept turning over the ball, and it just kept feeding. It became a bit of an avalanche, really. We just kept sort of attacking and moving Hull about, and Hull just, like I say, just weren't able to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Sneyd, you mentioned there, to single him out as, that's possibly the best performance I've seen him have in a Salford shirt, and he's had some good ones, in his first spell, and obviously last season. And what stood out to me with him this week was how much he took the line on and actually carried the ball. Usually he's the organizer, he's the one telling people where to be, and he might get his hand on his ball. He might get it and his hands on the ball every time, every tackle, just to offload and pass it on or get a move going or whatever. On Saturday, he was actually taking Hull on, and they didn't like it. They couldn't handle him. I know he got a try when he stepped through. I mean, that was incredible. Paul Shaw-esque at one part. I was amazed. But yeah, he was brilliant. But like you say, that break that he made, again, he just spotted a gap in the line. They didn't expect him to run at him, because they obviously know his game. Hull's his second home, if you like, and he made that break, and then we scored, and we were like, that's what we want to see. I remember the guy in front of me saying something very similar to "That's the Salford we know," and from that point on, I think it was just one-way traffic, wasn't it?
Yeah, gameplay intelligence. That's what that is. Park is. I remember the first try, he waited for Riley to catch him up and obviously organised us to go over in the second corner. But later on, obviously thinking about the Tim Laffey try, which was a wonderful try. Let's not get it right. The build up going through the middle, but it was the money ball that he gave to Laffey that made the try. That was being able to sort of freeze time and think, I'll give it to Laffey, because he had numbers. There was options for him, but to give it to the right person at the right time, that's the skill that these top players have. They're just able to spot what's the best way to score, and that's what he did.
Yeah, and selfless as well in that way, because he could have possibly thought, I'll take him on, I'll score. Again, it's Hull. What a day for him, you know.
Yeah.
He might have been thinking, but he didn't. Again, like you say, he's thinking of the team. He's thinking, what do I do here? And in that split second, he's picked out the pass. And like you say, I mean, Tim had a strolling off what was an unbelievable bit of rugby, one of the tries of the season already. So, but obviously we get forward to that. But that was again, like you say, yeah, Sneedy was just absolutely first class. And the thing that got him in the England squad at the end of last year, that's the form that he showed. And at the moment, if he plays like that, I can't see too many better than him in the Super League now.
Yeah. Next try, Shane Wright. What a try that was. Lovely assist from Sneed to send him over. And at 12-4 at that point, Parker, big moment in the game that, because Hull kicked off. We turned over the ball, sort of had a dropout, and a big defence from us stopped Hull from scoring. We got a set restart, which Paul Rowley criticised last week. He don't like set restarts, good or bad. I found out this week. But 5 of our tries came from set 6 restarts, which is really telling. I think obviously how it affects a game. But I mean, it was like a massive moment really, because obviously big defence, Williams and Laffey putting the bodies on the line, turnover ball, then Brodycroft made the break for Briley to score, and the game just started drifting away from Hull a bit. They tried their best. They put another sort of a big attack, but Brodycroft come across and sort of threw Swift in touch with a collision, we'll call it. But like I say, it's big moments like that, and then we know at the other end, and Tyler Durpree scored, and the game, it's like a 18-point swing there. If Hull score their 2 tries and we don't, we're looking down a barrel. But that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Going back to the Shane Wright try, I've got to give Shane Wright credit. I mean, he had a fantastic game again. He's one of them, and this was the thing from Saturday as well. Some of them unsung heroes, the ones that do the really mucky work but don't get noticed, they stood out. And Shane Wright, the thing that got him on that was his run, the timing of his run. He didn't run straight, or he'd already spotted from what was going on inside him where the gap was going to be. It was kind of a chess player, a snooker player, thinking so many moves ahead, and he'd already seen where that gap was going to be, and he got himself into that position to have a stroll in. Basically, I mean, it was brilliant, and I mean, he worked tirelessly all day. He's an unbelievable player. We missed him so much last year. I don't think we really got to see the real Shane Wright, and what we're seeing now he's spot on. But what you said there about the restarts, I agree with Paul Rowley. I think it's a stupid rule and I don't like it. It's just too open to interpretation by any referee at any day. If he's in a bad mood, whatever. But what we got on Saturday was what Warrington got against us.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Yeah, for me, I didn't come on last week. I didn't speak about Warrington. It's probably a good job because I would have ranted my head off. I've calmed down since then. Saturday helped. But a referee can influence a game massively. And he did that night. I'm not saying he cheated, but he cost us a game. That's what I will say. Because he turned that game in their favour. He gave them ball that we didn't have. And if you haven't got the ball, you can't win. You can't just keep defending. And these were decisions made on what he thought, what his interpretation of what, a hand in the rut looked like, or how long you were holding somebody down, and most of them, when you watch it back, nothing like, awful. This week, it's happening the other way, and Hull fans could sit back easily and say, well, he shouldn't be giving that. That's not fair. You know, their players probably were on as long as ours or whatever. And I'd agree. I'd have no problem with it. I think it's a stupid rule that we need to try and get rid of. But another gimmick by rugby league. But it worked in our favour. And like you said there about Hull and all, I mean, if Hull played as poorly as that again this year, they're going to be in serious trouble. They couldn't hold the ball. Some of their one-on-one defence was absolutely awful. And I'm thinking, as a Salford fan, we've seen that. We've seen them performances, and you know how it feels as a fan to think, are you actually trying? You know, you costing us this game. What I mean, the one where Shane Wright scores later, and he just knocks that. Was it Tex Hoy or one of them? He doesn't even try and stop him putting the ball down. He just sort of pushes him, and you're like, that's Shane Wright, not, you know, I don't know, not Joe Vangana. He's not the biggest man in the world, you know. He's please make an effort. And I'm not taking anything away from us. We were brilliant. We were absolutely brilliant, but Hull were pretty dreadful.
Well, like you said, our forwards were fantastic. Tyler Dupree, unbelievable. Shane Wright, Adam Sidlow in that second half. I spoke about Adam Sidlow before his first time round. I always wanted someone to steal his orange at half time, to get him running around like a credible Hulk, beating everyone up. And I think that's what happened on Saturday. Someone took his orange juice, came out second half looking for victims, and he found a few in Hull shirts.
He was brilliant. There's some of them offloads he was coming up with. We're absolutely. I mean, that's what Adam Sidlow does.
Yeah,
that's what he's always done. But I think you could see in his play on Saturday that maturity. I know it's easy to say that when he's in his mid-30s. Of course, he's mature, or he should be, but it doesn't work like that always. But he just seemed to know when to offload. It wasn't just, I'm just offloading. He knew that the players were going to be there. And in this type of, in Rowley ball, he's the ideal prop forward. Do you know what I mean? He's a big lad. He can hold 2 or 3 up and get a ball out. And by that, he's created space, which our back line will you know, we'll just live off that all the time. And like you say, Tyler Dupree again, what a player this kid is. You know, he was on the scrap heap. Another one that, you know, he's playing championship, and, you know, it could have gone either way. He could have walked away from the sport. He now looks like he is a future international. And I don't mean an England Knights. I mean a full international player. He's got pace for a big man. He's got a good offload. His defence is brilliant. And that, again, them runs he makes, he takes 2 or 3 every single time. And he's not scared of taking up 2 or 3 times in a set. You know, to set that platform, he's brilliant. And then, I mean, the rest of the pack around him were brilliant. And when we lost Ollie Partington after the Warrington game, and I was thinking, he's been our player of the season so far. I know we're 3 games in at the time or whatever, but he'd been brilliant. That's going to be a massive loss. On Saturday, you want to know, you know, it was seamless. Whoever came in was just as good. And that was, I mean, that's a mark of a really good, really strong squad.
Yeah. So we went into half time leading 30 points to 4. Second half, Parky, we come out like a rocket. You know, couple of quick tries just after half time. In that sort of 9-minute period there, Hull were just shot to bits for me. And it was, you know, good rugby, positive rugby. And I suppose when you go into games sort of like this, Hull would have got a rocket from their coach, wouldn't they? And they'd want to come out and make an impression. But for us just to extinguish their fire like the way we did, like you say, shows us, you know, we are a good team, and when we, you know, we could be going somewhere here.
Well, another funny story. Half time, thought I'll wait till the queue dies down. I'll go and get a coffee. So I went down, waited. Next minute, teams are out. A big cheer goes up. Someone next to me says, "Oh, Hull have scored." By that noise, I went, it's all right. We're still well ahead. And then about 2 minutes later, while I'm still waiting for my coffee, another cheer goes up. I'm thinking, oh, don't let them back into it, Reds. God, you know, that's, if they've scored twice, they're in the teens now. They a couple more tries, it's game on. I went back out. My brother had the biggest grin on his face. He said, "You've missed it." And that's when he obviously mentioned the tries. And I watched them back, obviously, since. And that is, I mean, that's how you start half. We always say, let's start big. Let's get the first try. Let's you know, it's usually the other team that puts us on the back foot and makes us all go, oh, here we go. Straight away, that's killed that game. If it wasn't already dead at half time, which it should be when you've got a 26-point lead. I don't care who you are. It can be. It has been overturned. We've seen it. But to do that to them, like you said, when they've come out probably all fired up, ready to knock us about a bit, that is unbelievable. That's not Salford. That's not what we do.
No.
And somehow we did. And from that point, and again, it's knocked everything out of them. They've got nothing left. Straight away, 5 minutes after half time, it's game over. Any passion that they got back together, any thoughts of getting back into that game have gone. And the tries we scored were brilliant as well. So, everything seemed to just go right at that point, and then you just think, just sit back and enjoy this now. And I think we did. I think even the players just put themselves in a lower gear and just thought, right, we'll just cruise through this.
Yeah, it was wonderful. 8-point try as well for Dion Cross. Obviously, after last week's controversy, it was good to get an 8-point try. I thought it was a bit, harsh. I don't think it was a massive headshot, but a headshot is a headshot. So 8 points. Thank you very much.
Yeah, again, what's going on with these 8 points? Is this the new one this year? Is this the new sort of?
I think so.
For the first 5-6 weeks of the season, and then you won't see any for the rest of the year. That'll be it. Be all gone. I'm glad we got one, but it doesn't make up for the ones we've not had and the ones that have gone against us. But I've watched that back. It is high, but at the end of the day, he scored. If he hadn't scored, penalty try, or whatever. But he did. He scored, and the damage is done. Yeah, and I think it didn't make a big difference in the end, but it didn't need to be an 8-point try. But that's how the referees kind of seeing it. And like I say, next week you might not see any. So cherish them moments.
Yeah. So then we have the Mark Sneed try, where he dances over, and then the try of the game, the Tim Laffey. When we talk about the way sort of Mark Sneed finds Tim Laffey, but it was all about the creation at the beginning of the move that made the Soul fans purr.
Yeah, I think it was the Ackers, Croft, and Dupree.
Yeah,
initially. I mean that ball inside out, it's just mesmerising to watch. And funnily enough, on Sunday or Monday, while I was a bit bedbound, I watched some of the highlights from last year. There's a thing on YouTube somebody put together. I think it might have been from the club. And there's a game there where we do the same move. It might have been Saints last year at home when we tonked them, and it's the same move. It's that ball inside, outside, inside, and then through the gap. And I watched it and I thought, I don't remember us doing that, but we did. And doing it on, I mean, it's okay. You can practice that as well in training. You can do what you want, but doing that in a match against live, opposition, that's special. That is real class. And Andy Ackers again. I mean, he's another one who's just at the top of his game. Hull couldn't handle him. Some of his little runs that he does, and he's really quick as well off the mark, so he causes a lot of problems. But that, and you got Brody there, who I think assisted in 3 tries on Saturday. I mean, again, just a special individual. And then obviously, like we've already mentioned, Sneedy, then chiming in and making that final pass. Just seeing, he's, like you say, he had options, and just picked the right one. And Tim Laffey's, could have walked over, couldn't he? Really didn't, after that. But no, another man who had an outstanding game, Tim Laffey. He was. I think every time. I think I shouted about 30 times during the game, just give it Tim, because he'll bounce them off and he'll make some. Yeah, if you're stuck in your own half, just give it him. Let him have a run, because he causes chaos. He's an absolute wrecking ball of a player. So again, like I say, I could have picked them all out again, but. No, that was a great try. One of the tries of the season, it'll be that. Yeah.
Mark Sneed kicked it a 1,000th goal in the game as well. Obviously, we know what his radar like kicking is. It's a special goal kicker. Knows where out. His tactical kicking as well as important for me. But yeah, a great milestone for him. Well done from everyone on the podcast. Mark, a great achievement there.
Yeah, I mean, his goal kicking has always been a strength. He seems to have I don't know. I mean, when he misses, you're disappointed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could be from the touchline. You're going, how's he missed that? You're thinking, most kickers miss that. He's just, you're so used to him banging them all over. And you see it when you watch Sky back, when we've been on Sky and you watch the rerun. And the commentators basically, they don't even really mention that. They mention his kicking style because every time they have to for some reason, like nobody's ever seen him do it. But then they just sort of go, it's Snake, you know, and they'll talk about something else because they know he's going to kick it. Like, that's what happens when he gets the ball at his foot. And like I say, his tactical kicking. I've been a little bit disappointed at times this season with ours in general. But I don't know if that's a tactic that I'm missing. The fact that we do keep the ball, but 9 times out of 10 this season, it's landed in a player's arms, having a winger or a fullback. And I don't want that player getting a 20-yard start with a ball in his hand. I want it to touch the ground at some point. And I don't know if it's a tactic of Paul Rowley or whether it's just, you know, not coming off for us. I mean, on Saturday, I think somebody said, you know, there's like 50 metres of grass over that side and he's found the fullback again for like the third time. And you're like, how's that? But is that a ploy? You know, does it take juice out of the fullbacks, you know, engine for running the ball in? Crack him. Because they don't do much, do they, fullbacks? Let's be honest, most of the game. You know, they stand behind and watch everybody else do all the hard work in defence. So maybe that's a thing, you know. And with their fullback, was it Clifford, was it, or whatever?
Yeah.
You know, he come in as a, you know, an overseas player. Perhaps we've seen him as a threat. That might be, you know, might be reading too much into it. But generally, going back to Mark Sneed, generally, his kicking is unbelievable. He's 40-20s or he's 20-40s or whatever they were last year as well. He's done a few of them. Brilliant. And yeah, I mean, all round on Saturday, he was just perfect. And to top it off, a big win against his old club and a 1,000th goal. That probably don't get much better, does it?
No. So 60 minutes in, we're in total control. 56.4. Hull started to complete a bit then. Scored a couple of tries. We ended up with a last try, Tim Laffey, after a 6 again and two penalties. So it was, a fantastic result. My only thought is that at 60 minutes, is that Hull getting it back into it? Does that stop our momentum, or did we take our foot off the gas, you think?
I don't think we took our foot off the gas. I mean, maybe we got a little tired. I don't know whether that's something to do with it. I mean, the try they scored from the scrum, initially he was lucky to hang on to the ball, not Swift, but whoever gave him the ball. He juggled it and then got round our player with doing that. It kind of, I don't know whether he put our players off or what. And then once he's gone, I mean, Swift is Swift, isn't he? He's a quick player. There was only Ellis Longstaff, I think, to chase him. And, you know, it's not a fair foot race, that. And it was, I mean, a good try, don't get me wrong. You know, I like to see that. It's great to watch at times. But, no, and then, like I said, he got a couple of decisions, got a couple of penalties. And he put us on the back foot and they scored. I mean, it's hard to defend for that long. You know, they scored in the first minute or whatever and then didn't score again until, like you say, 60 odd minutes. I mean, that's, you know, I don't know how many times they had the ball in that time, but we held them out. We defended it. And a lot of time in the first half, especially, we were on our line doing that and breaking away from our line. So, yeah, I've got no problem with that. I'd like to have kept him in single figures. I think that would have been even more impressive. And I'm sure Paul Rowley would, knowing what he's like, he's probably picked at the defence and had a bit of a dig, you know. But I've got no problem with it. The tries he scored, the one from what's his name? The forward with the long Tech Sevens hair, scored the try. I forgot his name. Looked like something from the 70s. Anyway, it was a bit soft. It was a soft try for us, but at the same point, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I can't, as a fan, I can't pick. You can't really pick. I shouldn't be picking when you've been away and scored 60 points.
Yeah.
You know, as a Salford fan as well, we've been on the other end of that so many times at home and away. So it's just a pleasant surprise for us, isn't it? And it's becoming more and more frequent, scoring lots of points. And again, that's the way the game is now. If you've got a lot of the ball, it comes in waves. So I'm not too. I don't see too much into it. I think we've probably got bodies out there that are not 100% as well, because we've got a small squad. Somebody's got to play. So maybe that has an effect. I don't know. And then I noticed Jack Ormonroy came on as a sub, and 2 minutes later had to go off because he'd hurt his neck or whatever it was. He got hurt in a tackle. He hit the ground and went back off. Well, that's a sub used, and he was coming on to be fresh. But then the player that's gone off has got to come back on and do another stint. It's just difficult, and I've got no problem. But one of the tries was a bit soft, but other than that, it's a great all round performance.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, 54-6 at that point. So I think I was just thinking 180.
Yeah.
But 50. I'm sure, like Paul Rowley says, there's always room for improvement. So he'll probably look at that back 20 and think, what could we have done better in that last 20 to maybe sort of stop Hull getting back into it? But damage was done before then, so
I think part of that as well might be that our style of play is that we'll carry on throwing the ball about, and maybe at times we just need to go, let's put your foot on the brake a little bit here. We're already 50 odd points up. Rather than throwing the ball back and dropping it and giving them a chance, just go through your sets, kick it down there and pin them down there. Keep it, rather than throwing it and dropping it on the halfway line, scrum on the halfway, then they're in your half. Then that could be something. But again, just being very, very critical and very harsh. There's no point. I'll watch that every single week. No problem.
If we're 56-4 up every week, Parker, we'll let them have a dodgy 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Stats, Parker. Top meter makers: Reece Williams 117, Ryan Briley 116, Tim Laffey 119, Brodie Croft 102, Mark Sneed 94, Andy Ackers 132, King V 82, Tyler Dupree 104, and Adam Sidlow 108. I always say, if you can get players over 100 meters, shows going in the right direction.
Yeah, and it's spread around there, isn't it? Quite a few of the backs as well as the forwards taking the work. I mean, I always say it's easier for wingers and fullbacks because the ball's going to get kicked to you, get 20 metres to run anyway. But Reece Williams, again, another player. He's played twice this season and he's been outstanding both games. Not a problem. We lost Joey Burgess. You're thinking that's a blow, that, because Joe's an international player. There's no doubt about that. But then so's Reece, but he's got the most caps for Wales, so I suppose he is. But he was brilliant again, and making them meters, taking some of the work off the forwards. When we are a bit light in the pack at times, And so if you've got them players like Ryan and Reece putting in big meters, Sneedy and Brodie at halfbacks doing the same, and then I mentioned Tim Laffey, just absolutely crazy player. No, that's brilliant. Like you say, to get players in the 100 meters in a game, that many of them. I mean, Adam Sidlow come off the bench to do that, 108 meters. That's a great effort, really is.
Yeah. Top tacklers: Callum Watkins 23, Andy Ackers 24, Chris Atkin 23, and Shane Wright 27. Obviously, we scored 60 points, so we didn't do too much defending, but still good numbers.
Yeah. And I don't want to. I want to mention every player here, don't I? Chris Atkin, loose forward. Who knew? He was amazing. He tackled double his weight quite easily. His work rate didn't drop for the whole game. You mentioned in there 20 odd tackles. He's a halfback really by trade. We stuck him in at loose forward, which is a high intensity role. You're involved constantly. You're not getting a break. He was fantastic. He really was great. Like I say, he replaced Ollie Partington, who's been, unbelievable for us so far. So, I mean, that's great because he's another pivot as well, another great ball handler. So having him on the pitch and the way we play, it just works. And he was brilliant. But yeah, more. I mean, them 20 odd tackles between 4 players there, all getting in the 20s, when we probably only did 100 tackles in the whole game. So good work rate. I mean, Cal Watkins gets stuck in, and and yet sometimes he goes unnoticed. Like the other day he didn't score. He scored, but he wasn't making breaks like he can do, or doing the stuff that he did in the centres and all that. Again, he's doing that Shane Wright thing. Just gets keeping everything together. Just does that hard work, that graft. What a player he is! What a player.
We're blessed with so many good players. So that was Kurt Haggerty talking to Paul after the game, and he was talking about how this team is capable of putting big scores on teams.
Yeah. I listened to that, and he's. I mean, again, he didn't sound. He's very much in the Paul Rowley style, isn't he? You can tell who his mentor is at the moment, because he wasn't shouting from the rooftops. This is amazing. Look at us. We've done this, and it was more. Yeah, we did well. He's just feet on the ground. Yeah, and that's. I mean, I like that. I do like that. There's no point getting carried away. Because a Hull KR performance could just be round the corner, and that's back down. No, he spoke well. I mean, like Kurt, I think he's got a big future in coaching. Definitely, the players seem to love him. But listening to him talk to Paul, again, he's picking up on little things. You could see it in his voice that there was little disappointments there for him. And he wanted more. And I mean, it's an unbelievable position to be in. So yeah, I mean, he's good. He's a good bloke, and I think with him and Paul together, and obviously Inu, we've got some good people in the background.
Yeah. So big thanks to your 3-word match reports and man of the matches. Get comfy. We've got a few, Parker. Yeah. Chairman Bob couldn't make the game. Brilliant team performance. Colin Wilson, super team performance. Man of the match, all 17 of the coaching staff. OSF, amazing team performance. Sneed. Jamie Bell, I was there. KDL holding the ball. Man of the match was Croft. James Hoskinson, first class rugby. All of them. Martin, fantastic. Sneed. Stuart Smart, what a win, Sneed. Ronnie H, lost for words. And you put what a team, Laffey. Natalie Taylor, wasn't expecting that. Brody. Big Frank, amazing performance. Man of the match was Paul Rowley. According to him, brilliant going forward. That's what Dave Parker said. Ackers. Mark, yet a game, awesome. Dupree. Chris and Janet Shenton, great team performance. Sneed. And all is well in the Red Army after such a great performance.
Yeah. It's I must admit, I went through them yesterday.
Yeah, because that's your job.
Just putting together the man of the match things. It's chaos if you miss a week. Trying to go back through everybody's tweets. And again, what I've noticed already this year is the spread of players who are getting votes for the player of the match, and it's always very close. There might be one vote in it each time, and it's quite interesting at the moment, actually, in terms of who's in the lead and that sort of thing. I won't divulge it a bit too early in the season, but there's probably 8-10 players already in the running, and we're 4 games in, and usually somebody stands out. Ollie Parkinson's been brilliant, but he's missed a week now. Joey Burgess was good for the weeks that he was in, but he's missing. And then other players, but the one constant seems to be Tyler Dupree. Every week, he'll get a vote from somebody. He's just developed in 12 months from a part-time player who, probably didn't have a great pre-season. The season before, he came into a team. When he joined us, was during that period where we were struggling a bit last season. I think we lost 5, 6. 7 on the bounce or something. We weren't going great, and then him and Alec Gerrard came in and changed a lot, really. And since then, he's just blossomed. So yeah, I will update everybody after a certain period in the season and see how things are going. But no, so keep them coming in, and we'll see where we get and who gets the trophy at the end of the year.
Yeah, will be exciting times. Let's move on now, Parky, to the wheelchair rugby. Salford's first competition. They took part in on Sunday in Preston, Sir Tom Finney Sports Centre. Salford played Sheffield, Hull KR, Warrington and Leeds in like a round robin thing. Very proud. I think obviously a historic moment for the club. We all love a bit of wheelchair rugby, and it's great that obviously now we've got a team to compete in these things.
Yeah, I can't wait till they've got something a bit more local to us, so we can come down and have a watch and see how it goes. What does Salford bring to Super League? What they bring to Rugby League? It's all just about 7 teams. Absolutely magnificent. I can't wait to watch them, to be honest. I know Heather, who we've had on, she was involved. I think I read on Facebook she scored the first try for the wheelchair.
She did.
Team. Well, see. We're doing everything, aren't we? Females breaking records here for this club now, which is brilliant to see. the wheelchair rugby will be a massive success. You know, and obviously with this, you don't have to be wheelchair bound to play. You know, so I think more and more people. I think the popularity of that sport is going to be massive. I think it's going to grow through because it's constant excitement, and you see them when they hit each other. I mean, with them chairs, wow. I mean, I moved my fingers watching it. Oh, you know, how do you do it? The bravery of them is super. But yeah, I'm delighted. Another bow to our string in many ways. You know, string to our bow. That'd be right, wouldn't it? And it's no, so I can't wait to get to watch them at some point. Hopefully, they'll have a competition near home or at a time where the first team aren't playing, which is chaos. But yeah, it's a fantastic achievement, and well done to the club as well for getting this organised. And I know, you know, they've got all. It's not a ragtag thing, is it? They've got the shirts and the names and everything. I mean, who is this club? I'm not sure who I'm watching anymore. You know, I want my team to turn up in jeans and trainers. I'm not. This isn't us. But no, brilliant and a great achievement, and well done to everybody involved.
I often think that, Parker. I mean, where's the early 2000s team club gone? You know what I mean?
It is. We probably even pay wages now.
So, you know, congratulations everyone who took part in that. The team was Heather Robinson Wynn, Leela Hamrang, Paul Thomas and Neil Blackburn. So congratulations to all them making history, and I'm sure there's loads more to come in the months to come. Final bit of news, match-wise, Parky, our Salford Red Devils development team beat Hotwood Hall 32-16. I think it was yesterday, and they're in the playoffs now, which is fantastic. Obviously, you know, I always say the future's bright, the future's red. So to be obviously in the playoffs competition, it shows how good they are, and obviously now it's a test in it to see how far they can go.
Yeah, but it's a massive achievement. I mean, we struggle as a city in many ways. You know, I mean, football being more dominant here than most other, and probably other than London, probably every other rugby league town, city, maybe Sheffield, obviously, because Sheffield Eagles aren't a Super League team. But so we really have struggled, and the fact that we can't have an elite academy obviously restricts us in terms of bringing players through, and that. So these are the future. This is what, you know, we've got to look here to find out our future players, our first team, and this is where they start. And that's a great achievement. They made the playoffs. You know, I think it's brilliant. I mean, we're coming up against areas and regions and teams of rugby league hotbeds, you know what I mean? People who are born just to play rugby, you know. Obviously, I don't know quite within that league, but obviously places like Leigh, Wigan, Warrington, St Helens, you know, and then you go over to Yorkshire, and that's, you know, that's their thing. It's not quite the same here, so we've got to work twice as hard to get these lads to that level, and to, you know, hopefully open up a few doors. So no, another brilliant thing. So we made the playoffs. I mean, can't ask for more.
Yeah. So good luck, lads, and we'll be looking out for the result in the next couple of weeks. So that's all the match chat, Parky. And now we'll do all the big news, and there's lots of it. So we'll start with our new partnership with Ponsonby Ponies in Auckland. They were formed in 1908 in a hotel called the Birdcage. They play at Victoria Park, and you know, it's a very, you know, impressive setup for me. I think, obviously, they are very sort of regionalised. I think, you know, they talk about developing players, and that's what their main sort of goal is. It's not about winning for them and winning trophies. It's about bringing good players and good people through, which is kind of sort of echoes the kind of thing that Paul Rowley does sort of wants to do at Salford. So really, it's a good mix for me.
Yeah, much to my embarrassment, I don't know half as much about domestic rugby in New Zealand as I should. You know, you could ask me about sort of lower league clubs in Australia, and I'd know them anyway. I don't really know how the league works in New Zealand, and I don't know what. Obviously, I've heard of teams over there, and we've had players from teams over there, but I don't quite. like you said, I'm not sure how the league works or whether
Yeah.
it's how competitive it is. Because I think
Well, they do have a few sort of New Zealand internationals who come through, through their setup. Probably some from sort of the mid the 50s and stuff like that. Nothing sort of recent, but they played in the Ohio Cup in 2017. They played Quinella Sharks in the 70s when they had a good side. In 2018, they played Ipswich Jets in the Queensland Cup. So they have sort of potential, and then they have good caliber of players who want to grow, and yeah, we don't really know too much about. I'm sure, like the rest of the teams that have joined in our sort of partnerships all over the world, it's a long-term legacy planning. It's not about that Ponsonby might bring suddenly a massive second role that's going to take Super League. Like, might be 5 years down the line, they might, and there is a pathway now for that kid in Auckland to possibly get through to to play for Salford in the Super League. But like you said, we have different teams. We have a great local talent pool as well. We have Wales, so it's going to be. I've said this to Paul Rowley before. In sort of 5 years' time, there's going to be a big pool of players to pick from, and all fighting to want to play in that jersey.
Yeah, I mean, it's, the other thing is our names in another country again. You know what I mean? The club, we're known. You know what I mean? Our name's getting spread out there. People will know of Salford Red Devils now. There'll be guys over there who now following Salford, or at least looking out for the result because they've got a partnership, they've got a connection, and their families, and and it does a lot for us in that way as well. But I think, like you say there, the plan is probably 4, 5, 10 years down the line. I mean, the difference is we've done it in the US and in Ghana and with Red Star. New Zealand, it plays rugby league. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to be starting from scratch. Like you said, they've been around for 1908. This is an established club. This isn't something, so there is more to that, I think, and the more chance of bringing players through. I mean, it's obviously another tough thing because if you're a good player in New Zealand, you're probably going to get picked up by an NRL club or the Queensland Cup, or you know what I mean. So, but if we've got that connection, that player may think, do you know what? I've got a chance to go to England and have a go. Even if it's a trial or whatever. I think it's a really good thing the club are doing, and I hope it continues. I don't know how it works financially. What I'm sure we can't be giving money out, but the advice we can give and the tips and the training and if you're watching Salford right now, you're thinking, mind being like them. They're quite good. If that's a DNA that we can put into another club, brilliant. But we're all over the world. Where next? Where are we going next? I think there's only 2 continents left in it. We've not infiltrated yet. So yeah, no, it's a brilliant thing. Again, full credit to the club. Whoever's putting these together, deserves a massive pat on the back. I'm sure probably Ian Blease has got something to do with it, and obviously Paul King probably somewhere along the line. But it's just a great way of getting our name out there for us, and then for these other clubs to be developed and be associated with a Super League team, and hopefully we can help them out.
Yeah, next stop, Antarctica Reds. It's coming. A bit cold, but
yeah, it was cold enough in Hull on Saturday. You can forget that one. No, but there are other countries, even within Europe that we can easily tie up with. So just onwards and upwards for us.
Yeah, sad news. Dan Sarginson has departed, announced his retirement from rugby league. Wants to obviously help other people in their lives. It's a bit sad because obviously he's had a lot of injuries and suspension. Didn't help a couple of times. Got red carded, yellow carded, and stopped him from playing. 25 appearances, 5 tries. Golden point try in the Challenge Cup, I think, was it against Catalan? Was it? I think so. That was a high moment for him, but obviously missed the Challenge Cup due to Corona. So I think he was a good player for us, and obviously wish him well in whatever he wants to do next.
I was a big fan, really was. It was a shame that his injuries were held him back, and he's a character as well. I think he's probably a good bloke to have around the club. You know, I think that'll be a blow for the players. He was well liked, and a really talented player. Really talented. I think he's still got a good few years in him, but obviously, you know, he's made that decision. And if he's not going to play, you know, for us, it's good in a way that, you know, we it sounds horrible and crass, but we're not paying money out for a player that we're never going to see. You know, we couldn't. I'm sure we you know, it's money that we couldn't afford to just be paying. But full credit for him to, you know, for taking that decision. And like I say, we've had some moments with him. He's definitely a funny, you know, he's definitely a character. And I mean, like you say, the try he scored in the Challenge Cup was, well, he's one of them that'll live with us for a long time. He was just an amazing, you know, obviously we couldn't be there. We're all watching it in pubs and whatever. And I just remember going wild when he scored that. And then the moment where he didn't get sent off, I think, at Huddersfield, when he absolutely nearly murdered somebody. And I think Greenwood got sent off in his place or something, and he hid quite well at that moment out of the way. And it was a good thing because we could afford to lose that player and not Sarginson, so it kind of worked. But no, I wish him all the best. He's a great bloke, and I know he's been through quite a bit in his life in recent years. You know, he lost his brother, I think, a few years back, his younger brother, which affected him badly. And if he's not happy and he knows his body better than anybody else, and he's made that decision, then full credit, because he could have hung on. He could have tried to keep coming back or just picking his money up every week, you know, but he hasn't. He's made a brave decision, and I just wish him well.
Yeah, more sad news as well. Club stalwart Pete Atkinson passed away recently. Parky, our thoughts are with his friends and family at this time. I remember him from the Willows. He used to buy Golden Gamble tickets off him every week to come through the turnstile. Nice bloke. Obviously, it's sad news there.
Yeah, I've known Pete for, I don't know, he lived just further up Wees Lane when I lived down Wees Lane. So I used to see him virtually every day at some point, and his daughter Amanda had worked at the club as well. A really nice bloke. Do anything, absolutely. I know people say I'd do anything for him. He literally would. And he served the club well. You know, he worked at the ground at the Willows, sold the tickets, painted everything. You know, he'd help out in any way he could. And then even at the AJ Bell, I mean, I saw him 2 weeks ago at the OKR game. He collared me then for a Golden Gamble ticket, as he did. You couldn't get away from him. But yeah, really sad news, and you know, he'll be sadly missed.
Yeah, like I said, our thoughts and the prayers are with his family at this time. Better news: one of our PDRL players, Justin Mark, was selected for East Wales in the Origin game. You know, what a great achievement that is. Obviously, our PDRL team start their sort of season this weekend, but it's great for him to represent his east side of Wales in this Origin contest.
Yeah, more international honours, kind of, if you like. So we rep honours. Brilliant. I mean, we've not had a team for long. I think, you know, a few months really. And already, you know, he's made that step. I mean, that's brilliant. He must have been absolutely over the moon. And again, he's great kudos for the club. And that Welsh connection again, bearing fruit as it does. But yeah, no, full credit to him. Just hope he enjoyed it and got something out of it. But you know, keep your feet on the ground. Remember, you're a Salford player, and don't get any ideas.
No. Other news. Let's talk ladies now. Selco Builders are to sponsor our ladies team in 2023. Obviously, you know, a big sponsor of the men's team as well. So it's great they've got a link up with both now.
Yeah, I wonder where you were going with that. And let's talk ladies. That kind of podcast. Yeah, no, brilliant, great news. I mean, Selco itself, I was thinking about this. Obviously, we're going to talk about it later on, but IMG coming in and so on. A nationally known company, you know what I mean? Well-respected company. They advertise and everything. They're on the darts every week. They've got, you know what I mean? They're a big company. And to be associated with the club in general is fantastic. But then I saw, obviously, like you say, they're going to be on the shirts for the ladies. They're going to, you know, obviously there'll be some kind of, I'm sure, financial input into that, which is great. just a complete professional setup, and more, really good news. And the commercial team at the club are doing a great job in tough times. And it's good to have them on board with us. And it's just a shame that the ladies, we don't get to see them enough. It seems like forever since I watched them.
Yeah, they were supposed to play on Sunday, but the game's been called off. They're supposed to play Barra, but called off for some reason, which is a bit disappointing. But I suppose we've got plenty more games to look forward to. There's still personal sponsorship packages available for the ladies, £400, including VAT. Get lots of stuff out of that. So if you're a local business, you want a bit of exposure. Obviously, our ladies with their success of last season would be an ideal opportunity to promote yourself and put some coppers into the ladies team.
Yeah. Again, hopefully we'll see more of them this year in the stadium. So if you are going to put some money in, it wouldn't go unnoticed. Certainly wouldn't. I'm sure. Obviously, you'd be on get mentioned on the website and everything else. But to actually, you've got your player there, they score at the AJ Bell. Sorry, can't call it anymore, can we? At the Salford Stadium.
Yeah.
It's more kudos to you. And you don't have to be a business if you're financially comfortable as an individual. I don't think £400 is crazy for a season sponsoring somebody. I don't think that's bad at all. So yeah, it's somebody, there'll be people out there who will get involved. I mean, I'll admit, if I had that money like that and didn't think that I would suddenly be divorced for using it, I would. I'd definitely put some money in.
Yeah, a few more coffees will be on that.
Yeah, a few more, you say.
Yeah. They've actually brought someone in, Emerald Hickey, for the 2023 season. Played for Lancashire University, played for Cheshire, played for Southport as well. Prop forward, obviously will provide some power in that front row.
Yeah, and again, more bodies. That's what you're going to need through a season, especially now we've took that step up to Super League 2 and what that means in terms of competition every week. I said last year about the first season is going to be about getting used to it, getting hit, getting up the next day, going again, and they excel. We know they did. I can't bang on about them enough. These girls have combined studies and general life, work, everything else with training, extra training that they didn't have to do. Nobody's told them to do it. They just got together and done it. And then the success as well, picking up a bit of silverware in your first year and ended up getting promoted. I mean, pretty good, really, isn't it? So, I'm full of praise. And like you say, a new face for us to get used to. And sounds like she's got a bit of experience as well.
Yeah, exciting times there. Mother's Day Monday, the club have put out a afternoon tea offer, £50 for an afternoon tea, £70 if you're not a season ticket holder. Opportunity if you do bring your mum to the game for £10, you can do that as well. So I think it's great. I think it shows, the club are trying new things. Decent price, obviously. If you try to do afternoon teas, they are kind of around that price. But yeah. Hopefully they'll get a decent sort of take up on that.
Yeah, I think after my mum working there for 30 odd years, if I offered her mothering Sunday watching Salford, she would probably disown me. I think she's had enough of it. No, it's a great idea, isn't it? Another great little offer that's been put on. Another idea, something out, thinking outside the box. Because I remember him saying after the last game, well, the only game we've had it on this year, that there'll be offers for Mother's Day, and I was kind of thinking, what can you offer? You know what I mean? What is there that's not afternoon tea? I mean, I know my mum loves having afternoon tea. She goes off to these hotels or wherever, and spends a lot more than £50. I know that. So yeah, another great idea. And this is the thing: the club are trying so hard to get people in, to get bums on seats, and they're coming up with all these ideas, and I feel they get let down a little bit by the public at large. Not obviously not the 3,000 of us that are there every week. That's a given. We'll be there no matter. But I think it deserves more. Possibly more coverage would help. But they keep trying, and I hope these things gather pace, and it's something we can continue to do.
Yeah.
Into the future.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing. It's about, if it don't work first time, don't can it. It's about, you have to go a couple of times, and that momentum hopefully grows. But then say that comes into overheads and availability and all that. So the club, it's a fine line, and it's a tightrope they have to walk. Let's be fair. Other news, looking for a match day announcer and match day entertainment. Parker, massive part of any game and match day in rugby league now is what goes on off the field. So hopefully there'll be people out there who want to sort of get involved in this kind of thing, and the club will be able to hopefully get them and then keep them and build maybe a sort of a portfolio of entertainers who will keep coming back in different games to entertain everybody.
Yeah, I think, well, it's like you say, it's a massive part. It's something that we've got to up our game on. It's one of the very few criticisms I would have at the moment about our club, and it is very few because I can't think of too many. Is our match day. It doesn't. We've said it 1,000 times. It doesn't matter to me, you, and the average bloke who's been going since 1900 and boiled milk. It's about bringing those new faces in, and we've got to offer more than just rugby league. That's how it is. And full credit to what Lee did on that opening night, and again they did it for Saints last week. I'm not saying we haven't got that budget. Derek Bowman seems to have a bottomless pit of cash that he can throw at it, and fair play. I'm not criticising. It's a great thing for him. Well done to Lee. But that's the way. They're the levels we've got to get to. That anticipation before a game, and I'm not saying having pyrotechnics on the pitch is a great thing, but I think we need a little bit more now. And the match day announcer is very much a part of it. Getting people going, even at Hull on Saturday. I mean, and he's worked out, to be fair. He wasn't much to go at, but even he was trying his best to get the fans to get. Sometimes you need that. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I think we get a few people sort of going for that, and then obviously the entertainment. There's loads of local bands, loads. It's a free gig. If you can get them on, before a game, I don't know whether they're thinking of doing it on the pitch, but if that's the idea, and you've got a few thousand people, for some of these bands, that'll be the biggest they'll ever play in front of. What an event. But again, we've got to get it out there. I think university is a great place to go, and the colleges, because that's where a lot of bands are formed. From that, and I think that'd be a good thing. Maybe going off to the Northern College of Music in Manchester and putting something in there, just letting them know that this is what we're looking for. I don't know if the club's done it. I might be teaching me granite suck eggs. I don't know, but these are these are the pathways we've got to chase up, and you'll find entertainers who will do the announcing and that kind of thing, because some people are just gifted like that, and we'll fall into it.
Yeah. So we'll have to see what comes up there, Park. Here, let's talk IMG now. They announced their plans for the future of our game. You've had a little look at it. What do you make of it all?
Firstly, I will say I'm not against anything that's going to improve our game and make it more popular in the British psyche, and give it the credit it deserves. But some of it just seems so straightforward. You think, why are we not already doing this? Was this not what framing the future was for 30 years ago? Is this not what Super League's about? The criteria are very. It seems a bit vague. That's what I will say initially. I made a few notes. I mentioned to you off air earlier on that I made all my notes on the iPad, which I'm currently using as a video camera. So it's a bit strange, but it breaks down the criteria. The first one is the fandom, as they call it, a word that I've never understood. I don't really get it. It must be an Americanism of some sort. Fandom.
Made it up.
And it starts with the tendencies, and straight away you get a bit of a that's a bad one. If this is the first of their criteria, if they're I know the ratings are done differently, but if that's part of what they're looking at, that's not a good start for us, because our tendencies are better, but nowhere near good enough. Nowhere near good enough. But that's only one part of that fandom.
Right.
That's 2.5 points of the 5. That's half of it.
Okay.
So we need to up our crowds. We know that. Paul King knows that. Everybody at the club knows that. Everybody who watches Salford knows that. We can pack 4,000 or 5,000 to go to an away game in the playoffs, but we can't get 5,000 for a home game sometimes. Go figure. You know what's going on. Anyway, and then you've got these strange ones. You've got digital, which is your interaction via Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Well, we do that. I think we're pretty good at that. I think we've got that box stuff. I've got no problem with the stuff coming out of the club. It used to be an issue for me that I didn't think there was enough information. Now it's constant. Every day there's something there. Even if there's no news, they're bringing something out. There's an or whatever. I think we're really good at that. So I think we pass that. Visualization. Now I'm not sure how you judge this, because from what I can make out, it's something to do with when you're on TV or whatever, how many viewers there are.
Right.
Which, if we're on a Thursday night on Sky against Hull Kingston, and Manchester United are playing Barcelona, let's just say that might happen one day.
Yeah.
How many people are watching Super League that night? A lot less than watching the game on the Friday night. Doesn't matter who's involved. Now, what they've said is the bigger clubs get the bigger figures. I can't doubt that. I can't. I've got no figures to back that up with. But I'm pretty sure that there'll be much of a muchness, no matter who's playing. So I'm not sure how they judge this.
Yeah, I think we the most viewed grand final when we played Saints.
Yeah.
And I think we were semi-final. I think we were one of the sort of the highest viewing figures that day as well. So if they're going to factor that in, we should really score high.
But are they saying this where it needs clearing up for me? I don't know. But are they saying Salford are playing Wigan and there's this many people watching it? Now, is that they're watching Salford or are they watching Wigan? Are they watching both? How do you break that down into who's bringing the most to that? There's no way of knowing. Absolutely no way of knowing who's tuning in to watch what. They're just watching a game of rugby. So it's a bit of a strange one. But again, you get a point for that. So I think we'd be all right, because I think people will watch it, especially the way we play at the moment, who wouldn't watch it. So I've looked at that, and I think the numbers are a problem. That's going to be an issue for us. We'll drop points for that because we don't get big enough crowds. We're probably the least supported team in Super League. That's an issue. Right? We will improve it, hopefully. Winning is a big part of that. But, that's something that we've got to look at. And the club know that. So the next one is I've completely forgot. I haven't forgot. I have.
In fandom, next one's performance.
Yeah, well, what more can you say?
Yeah.
How long are they judging this off? Because if you go back to 2019, when we made a grand final, 2020 we made a cup final. All right, 2020 we all mention that. We'll blame COVID. And the last 2 years, last season we made the semi-final, and this year we're in 5th. We can go 4th over the weekend. And the rugby we play is absolutely scintillating. But again, the questions I've got with that is, with performance, well, what if you get 12 injuries? Your performance is going to drop. That doesn't make you a bad team. Doesn't make you a bad, anything changing. It just doesn't. And teams go through form and things like that. So it's got to be done over a period of time, surely. And if you finish bottom or in the bottom 3 years running, then yeah, you're probably not offering enough. I get that. But you can have, what about last year with Warrington having a freak year and finishing second bottom? Does that mean they're a terrible team? The top at the moment.
I think it's over 3 years, I think. But still, it's very much like, if you win the league, you get this much. If you win the Challenge Cup, you get this much. So you don't get much for semi-final, let's say. Or do you?
from the 30 odd clubs that are involved, that are being considered. I mean, what we're bothering for? League One, generally, half of them teams aren't even dreaming of getting anywhere near this level. So let's, but anyway, and then you get points for where you finish on that 38 team league. So if you finish 5th, you've done all right, you get more points. You get points for winning in the cup or getting so far in the cup. But what it says is if you win your league, you'll get extra points. Well, if you win League One, that's not quite the same as winning the Super League. So it shouldn't be weighted the same. So I don't know how that works. So if you win it, you get more points. But as far as you go in the competition, you'll get, or higher up you finish, you get more points. I think at the moment, as it stands, we'll do okay.
Right.
Now that's another 5 points, another quarter of the whole total. Now I think we're well up there with that. I've got no worries about that. I think we're safe there.
Okay.
Anything could go wrong, we could finish bottom, but finance.
Yeah.
This is potentially the biggest stumbling block for us out of the whole lot. We are financially embarrassed. We don't have any money. We don't. Simple. We don't. We know that. We're not idiots. We don't know the ins and outs. But Paul King has, he made it clear on a podcast I listened to the other day, and the fact that he's having to remortgage his house against the club keeping us going, that says it all. That's the problem we've got there. But then I look at the sponsorship we've got and think, well, that's massive. So there is finance that we do. The thing is, for me, we've survived and made semi-finals and everything else on nothing. Can you imagine what we could do with a little bit of money, or a sugar daddy to come in, or sugar lady, or sugar whatever you want to say? Yeah, to come in. But it is a bit of a worry because that's another 5 points, another quarter of the whole thing. That's a worry. I think the fandom one we can get around a little bit. We can improve our crowds. I think we do everything else pretty well. Performance, really good. Finance, not brilliant.
Looking at the finance packet, I've got the criteria. It says non-centralised turnover is 45%, which I think will probably mean sponsors. And like you said, our sponsorship catalogue is quite good. A club are always out announcing big sponsors, aren't they? So it's 2.25% of the vote, which I think is a big sort of score. So I think we might be all right there. It says non-centralised turnover as a percentage of total turnover. So we wouldn't know that because we don't know what's on the balance sheet, do we? Adjusted profit, we wouldn't know that. Balance sheet strength is 0.5, which is 10%, right? But like you said, our balance sheet might be quite strong because we make every penny count. So it might not necessarily mean you've got loads of money. You just know how to balance and how rugby league club works.
I think the one thing that we do rely on though is that central funding, the money we get from Sky. That is the bulk of what we have coming in. I can't remember what it is at the moment, what money you get off Sky, but I would say that's probably, I might be massively wrong, but I'd say probably about 70% of what we get. You know what I mean? That's where we've got to extend that now and move to bring in more money from other areas. And it's difficult because, these are tough times as well. Let's not forget, people are struggling, companies are struggling. But I don't know that. And that's something that only the club can answer. I know Paul King wouldn't hide behind anything. He's as open as anybody I've ever spoken to. And he's very honest. And if he thought it would help, he'd tell us. But obviously it doesn't. Me and you and anybody listening, we don't know. We don't know the facts. So
no, we don't.
But that's another one. So that we may struggle there. So it's at the moment we've had 3 categories and we're up and down a little bit. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Moving on. It's a stadium. I don't know where we can. The only way we'll drop points on that is that we don't own it, which there is a certain percentage that goes to that. How many rugby league teams own their own stadium? Well, Wigan don't. Hull don't. Obviously we don't. We could probably go on through rugby league. That they're either council owned or privately owned or whatever. So I'm not sure too many would benefit from that.
I think we'll score high there because, like you said, the facilities are good. We aren't the well, we share it with Sale, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
So we might not get that 0.25%. LED light is going to assume that the bulbs are LED. Big screen. We do have a big screen, but we don't really use it very much. Well, that might be something the club might want to sort of invest in or get so they can use the one Sale uses maybe. And utilisation is one. I suppose utilisation is what the new partnership we're going to be talking about in a bit, which gives us one there. So maximum of 3. I think I'll be disappointed if we're not 2.5.
Well, I think the ownership bit is an issue because Sale will be the main tenants. That's the way it seems from what we hear. That will drop us points. We know that. But I mean, this is the other thing that gets me in big screen. I mean, why are we rating the history of this rugby league and the future of all these clubs on something as simple as a screen? I mean, that's only one part. The LED. I know you mentioned the light. You know what I mean? The advertising hoardings as well, because they're LED. Some clubs don't have them. We do. Certainly down one side. Yeah. I don't know. You know, does that count? I mean, what are we going with? The length of the grass? Is that important? I don't know. It seems stupid, really. But the utilisation, I think that's also the stadium, how it's used out of hours. Now, at the moment, I'm not sure it is greatly used out of it. I know it's got the gym there and stuff like that, but I don't. But that's something that, like you say, the council now are going to control the stadium, really. You know, Sale will be the main tenant, but so I think it will get used a lot more. And that's where somebody like Seb Gerrard would have come in, because he wanted that. He had ideas of what he wanted to do. Obviously, we know he's not doing it. We know he's not overly interested, but that would have been, you know, that's somebody like that to come in. But that's fine. I agree with you, by the way. I think we've got no problems with stadium. If we moved to Moor Lane, that would have been a disaster. So it all fits at the moment.
If length of grass does come into it, Mark Ryan's got his work cut out for the next 2 years to make sure that.
Well, they do a great job.
He does.
They do a great job. Him and Danny. And then we go on to the last one, which is to do with
catchment.
Your catchment. Which again, this is an interesting one for us. Salford itself and the city of Salford is all right. It's probably, I think it's about 270,000 now in the city of Salford. How far are we saying a catchment area is? Because are we including Manchester?
We hope so.
But then could Wigan not? So we're in Greater Manchester. We can use that. And then how Wigan and Leigh? What? They're both in the same borough, really. You know, Leigh is in Wigan. So how does that work? And then you'd have Saints, Warrington, Wigan, and Leigh all on each other's doorstep. Well, are they taking numbers off each other, or are we just using the town itself and the population of that town as a catchment area? It's this is very vague. Again, I have no issue with this. Salford's big enough on its own, but with Manchester on our doorstep, we also have where you are there in Sale and Trafford and places like that. The whole of that side of the water, you know, and then we've got basically all the way to Rochdale Oldham one way, where there are no teams, you know, in between all that side, you know, going north through Bury and that way. So I've got no problem there. I think we're probably going to get full points for that.
Yeah, big fat 2 for me for that one.
Yeah. So I worked it out, and I looked at the actual scoring criteria. Okay. And we won't get an A. We won't. I just don't see us getting an A, which is not bad. You know, it doesn't matter. But I think I'm just trying to work out how I worked it out. But I think we're going to be high in the B as a B category, which
like
is
a B plus.
Yeah, which is 7.5 points or, you know, greater. And I think we're 8.5 to 9. But we're in there, as far as I can see. And to get a B, we'd have to be a category. We'd have to fall apart as a club completely. I just can't see how we can, compared to other clubs. What we offer is greater than so many. So I think we'll get a B license. I really do. And then it's for us to improve, and we have got time to even do it now. The main things, finance isn't going to be fixed overnight. That's not something you can, this is a long-term problem. The one big thing for me is getting them crowds up, getting bums on seats, make it look good on TV. And then you never know, more people watching might make more people think, I'm going to advertise there, I'm going to sponsor them, I'm going to do that, I'm going to get involved. And then who knows? So it's all good. It's very vague. There's a lot of things, that I'd love to get the club's, perspective on and see how they feel about it. Paul King sounded quite bullish when I listened to him about, he thought we'd get a B. I think we'll get a B. And hopefully that's how it's seen. But my big fear is that as much as this is independent, is there an alternative? Is there somebody involved who's already got an idea of who's in? Do they want... I mean, are they really going to kick Leeds, Wigan, Saints, Hull, Catalan, Warrington? Are they going to kick them out? No. Because that's the game. So you're looking at Salford, you're looking at Castleford, you're looking at Wakefield, you're looking at Leigh, possibly even Huddersfield. You don't know. They don't own their own ground. I know that the money situation isn't great because they've got huge debts. They don't get a great fan base. Catchment area, well, they're on the doorstep of Leeds and whatever else. So then do they want Bradford? Or we're the teams that are really at risk. And if they want Bradford and don't want Salford, you can make things fit. You can do things. Now, right. I don't think they will. But I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about other clubs now that are under threat that maybe don't deserve it. But I mean, for me, the one big thing, and I'm sorry, to everyone and listening, but the one big thing for me is what happens on a pitch.
Yeah,
that's the big one for me. That should be the weightiest of them all.
Yeah,
if you're, not just being good, because you can play good rugby and get beat, not be great to watch, but actually the success. I mean, you could look at a couple of clubs and think, you look at them criteria, you're not great, but you're a good club, you're a good team. How does it work? So it needs clearing up, and I'm sure it will over the next few months. It'll become clearer, and some of our listeners might have ideas and can let us know what they think. But for me, I think we'll be okay. I think our future's bright enough, and the people we've got in charge, I've got nothing but utter faith in. So, I think they're not sound bites what we do. We actually do. We take action. We make things happen. You heard other clubs say they're going to do this. You heard other owners say things. We've had one who's said things that didn't happen. Now we say something, we do it. And there's a lot more to come from this club. And just to mention as well, we went on before about the clubs abroad that we're associated with. How many other clubs have got these connections? How many other clubs are putting the olive branch out to these other teams and other leagues and helping? We're good for the game. And I think we'll be all right.
I'll give you a sign back. Other news: Ryan Lannon and James Greenwood are going on loan to Swinton for 2 weeks. Obviously, getting some game time there.
Yeah, well, I know Ryan's obviously coming back from injury, which is it's been tough for him, so he needs to get some games in him. James Greenwood, we haven't seen half enough of him. He goes out on loan and he gets injured and comes back, and then he goes back out on loan. And I think I worked out he's played something like 22 times in his fourth season now. Not an amazing turnaround. It's not. He doesn't show up enough. When he plays, he's a proper asset. He's a really, really good player. So hopefully now he can get through these injury problems, go to Swinton, make his mark, because we're short of forwards. We need these two back in our squad rapidly. I mean, James Greenwood, he's a good player with ball in hand. He's got a bit of pace out. When he goes out wide, he causes trouble. It'd be great to have him fit and on the bench. So, fingers crossed we can get these two fit now. And we need to see them back. Our squad isn't big enough to be having players that aren't going to feature.
No. So good luck to them. Come back fit and firing and push themselves back into the first team. Reserves will play Wakefield on Sunday after the men's game inside the AJ Bell. Opportunity for Stuart Wilkinson's men to put on a show against Wakefield.
Yeah, it'd be good to see him. Be good to see him again. Another team that we probably don't get to see enough of. So yeah, see what advances we made in the last, from last season, and yeah, it'd be good. I'll probably hang around for that now. I'm glad you've told me about that. The weather stays good. That'll be all right. I hope a few people do stay.
Yep. Other news: council set to buy the stadium and a loan to the club of £350,000. Obviously, we don't really know what the situation is with that. We can only go off what's been in the press, which is basically 2 instalments of £175,000. Some people on the council aren't quite happy about it, but it's a Salford asset, and a team in Salford are playing in it, and I'm sure the people in the council would want that rather than it to be sold to a team that isn't part of the city, and all that money that they pumped into it, building it, keeping it going, just disappears into the deep blue yonder, in not physically but in every other way.
It's a no-brainer for the council. I mean, there's 2 points to this. The first one is on the council point of view. Like you just said there, if we go bust, we go out of business, that leaves one team playing there. Right? Well, it's not making any money for half a year, because they play in the winter, we play in the summer. So with us there, the stadium has activity throughout the year. The council can't afford to have that stadium sitting empty. It just doesn't work, does it? Financially, it doesn't work. That's so from them, it makes sense. And if the leader of the council and the mayor and whatever were the ones that let Salford Rugby League die, I mean, it's political suicide, to be perfectly frank with you. I think it'd be crazy, but they haven't. I understand that I'm a taxpayer. I'm a council taxpayer here in Salford. I know it's my money. I know that I've seen the roads outside, how bad they are, that nobody's fixing. And I can see where the pressure is. But this is a separate issue. This money will help the stadium make money, which then goes back into the coffers, which then helps the council. So it's a simple one. The second part is people complain from the outside, saying, "Oh, you're just helping." They think that money just helps the first team of Salford Rugby League Club, a group of blokes playing rugby. I would love for some of these people to go and spend a few days working with a community team, the development lot. Go and see the PDRL. Go and watch the ladies team. Go and see what this club gives to this community. It's more than money. Money's important, but we're giving people a chance. The healthy lifestyle we're offering. You mentioned before about the lads who have made the playoffs. These young lads. What do you want to do? No rugby team. What did they do? Where did they go? Out on the street doing nothing. There's nothing. We're giving them a future. We're offering things. We're keeping them healthy. We're giving them ambition. If you take that away, that's a void that won't get filled, because the council can't afford to fill it. So who takes up the mantle that our community team, the likes of John and Neil Blackburn and people like that, the work that they put in every single day to get these projects out there, the primary schools that we go to, the high schools we visit, it means more than money. And people are very, very short-sighted when it comes to it. It's just a sports team. It also offers employment. Do you want all them people to just lose their jobs? Is that something else that's good for us? No. It's just, all they see is, the council have given them 300 grand so they can go and buy a new player. It doesn't work like that. There will be conditions as well from the council to say, you can't just, mess this up the wall. This has got to be used for whatever. We're keeping you afloat at the moment for your next big thing. And there'll be a path to improve the commercial side, to bring that money in, to pay that. This is a loan. This hasn't been given. This isn't free money. We've got to find the money to pay them back with interest. I know the interest is fixed at a very low rate, which is very, very good. I wouldn't mind my bank doing that, but that's the way it works. And you can only do that with the council that you can't do with the bank. It's separate, so listen, anybody out there, I'm preaching to the converted here. We're not Salford fans, and I'm sure we all think it's a great thing. But to anybody on the outside, I'll argue the toss with them that this club offers more to this city than virtually anything else.
Wonderful stuff there, Parky. Final bit of news is the news that broke sort of earlier this evening. Heathcote and Co. And our partnership with them now will be providing food and beer for the club. The club will make money from the food and beer purchases on match day and non-match day, which is great. Obviously, we talked about putting coppers back in to the club, and this is probably a really big way of doing that.
Yay, at last.
Yes.
I can start buying food and drink at the stadium again.
Yes.
Brilliant news. Fantastic. At last, it's been 10 years of nothing, hasn't it, from anybody? Nobody's helped us. We've got nothing from, match days or anything like that. Brilliant. I mean, whatever it is, if it's 1% of sales, it's still money that we didn't have. And in many ways, free money, if you like. No, that's brilliant. That's a great thing. Well done to the club and for getting this over the line. That's going to be a massive help. And yeah, so I encourage everybody: don't eat before you go to the game on Sunday. Don't eat. Don't even drink. Save it all up when you're at the game. And if you got a season ticket, I think you still get discount, don't you? Is that still going?
Yeah. Well, I don't think it is now,
isn't it?
I don't think so, because I think my wife
said that
to it, and they said they don't do it anymore. But that's just might have been miscommunication there. I'm sure if it does, the club will correct us and let us know, and let the people know, because obviously in this situation, you tell the people they'll go and buy that extra pie, maybe. Paul Heathcote is a Michelin star chef. Him and Gary, I think Bates, sort of run the company. They do it. They're going to do it for sale as well, which is useful. Obviously, we can share the pies, can't we? Which is great. They also do it for Preston North End, which is great. Obviously, experience in running a sports stadium and what the food and the drink means to both fans and sort of the club revenue wise.
I'll be honest, the last lot, I think the guy who runs the burger van outside does a better job. So this has got to be an improvement. Paul Heathcote, didn't he have a restaurant in Manchester? Is that?
Yeah. That's him.
I'm sure he did. Yeah, a few years. I don't know if he's still got one. Yeah, brilliant. No, fantastic news. That's some of the best news I've had in a bit, really. I mean, besides all the top signings and just being wonderful. That's really good. I'm delighted now that we are at least getting something from this stadium, and this is where this new agreement, obviously with the council and Sale, I think will benefit us. I think the rent will be different. I think Sale will end up paying the majority of that. I think that might be part of it, and then this adding a bit more money. Yeah, it seems like all's good at the moment, and I just can't. I'm glad you told me that. I didn't know about that. That's really good news.
Yeah, went on their website, said they're going to get pies from Clayton Pork Pies in Altrincham, and trying to source local breweries for the beer. But that's on their website talking about Sale. So you think if we're both sharing them, we'd do the same thing. But we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, the devil is in the detail. I'm sure the club will announce.
Right, here is this week's Devil in the Detail World of Rugby League. We'll start off this week with the Youth and Junior Leagues. On Saturday, the 11th of February, just one or two results played. It was Sunday actually. Waterhead Warriors 22, Shawcross Sharks 12. That was in the under-18s round 2. In the under-14s round 2, Lee Minor Rangers 50, Rochdale Mayfield 10, and Salford City Roosters were beaten at home 52-0 by West Hull. Fixtures this week: there's one game on Friday the 17th of February in the under-18s. That's Saddleworth Rangers against Featherstone Lions. On Sunday the 19th, in the under-16s round 2, Salford City Roosters face Stanley Rangers, and Lyndhurst Lions face Rochdale Mayfield. In Student Rugby League, on Wednesday the 8th of February, there's a couple of results. Manchester Met 30, Sheffield 18, Manchester 30, Leeds Beckett A 10, and Huddersfield 24, Salford 8. The fixtures in College Rugby League this week: Salford Red Devils A face Oldham Sixth Form, and the rest of the fixtures this week for the Student Rugby League: in the Northern Conference Cup, it was Manchester against Huddersfield, and Manchester Met versus Newcastle A. And there's also a fixture in College Rugby League. Salford Red Devils against Furness Raiders, and Carmel face Oldham Sixth Form. In the quarter-finals of the Bala National Cup, it was Harefinch 18, Castlewood Panthers 0. In the semi-final draw, these games will take place on the 18th of Feb on Saturday. It's Siddle against Waterhead Warriors and Harefinch against Drillington. In French Rugby League results from the weekend just gone, it was Limoux 20, Albi 24, Pierre 20, Lesignan 27, Saint Esteve 13, Catalan 26, Carcassonne 30, Toulouse 30, St Gaudens 18, and Villeneuve 32, Avignon 26. The fixtures for this weekend coming up, it's Albi against Villeneuve. That's on Saturday, along with Carpentras against Carcassonne. St Estienne versus Avignon is also a Saturday game. The rest of the games are played on Sunday. It's Entreguet against Lesignan, Ferrols against Pierre, Les Curie against Limoux, Villa Galhenc Aragon versus Toulouse, and Villa Franche against St Gaudens. Those games and the Coupe La France Lord Derby. So big cup competition in France. We'll keep you abreast of those next week. Well, there's a big game for St Helens in Australia on Saturday. They face St George Illawarra in a pre-season warm-up game. They won that game by 30 points to 18. Tries from Dodd, Walesby, Makinson, Lussick and Lewis Ritson as well, their new signing from Barrow. So big game coming up this weekend for St Helens over in Australia. They face Penrith Panthers in the World Club Challenge. That kicks off at 7 o'clock on Saturday morning, the 18th of Feb. That's on Sky. I think it's on Channel 4 as well, so you've got a choice there for that one. The fixtures, we'll go for the results first, actually, from the Betfred Championship. Round 1 game was played last Monday. It was Keighley 0, Featherstone Rovers 50. Round 2 games from the weekend. Barrow 16, Sheffield Eagles 36. 2 tries for Chris Wellham in that game there. Batley Bulldogs 16, Swinton Lions 30. Big win for the Lions on the road. Featherstone Rovers 46, Halifax Panthers 22. Toulouse Olympic 58, Newcastle Thunder 0. Whitehaven 16, London Broncos 20. And Widnes Vikings 26, Keighley Cougars 18. The fixtures for this week in the Championship. There was a game between York and Bradford that was on Monday night. I've not got the result for that one for you. I've been busy at work. I've not seen my phone. Thursday the 16th of Feb, Warrington face Leeds in the opening Super League game of the season. That's an 8 o'clock kick-off on Sky Television. On Friday, Lee Leopards face Salford Red Devils at 8 o'clock. Wakefield Trinity face Catalan at 7:30. There's a game in the Championship on Friday night. That's Sheffield Eagles against Batley Bulldogs. On Saturday, the World Cup Challenge, as I mentioned, Penrith against St Helens. That's a 7 o'clock kick-off. Hull Kingston Rovers face Wigan at 1 o'clock. That's on Channel 4. Toulouse Olympic versus York City Knights in the Championship, a 5 o'clock kick-off. And in Betfred League 1, London Scholars face Workington Town. That's a 3 o'clock kick-off. On Sunday, the 19th of Feb, Hull FC against Cass Tigers, that's at 3 o'clock. In the Betfred Championship, all these games are 3 o'clock ones. Bradford against Widnes, Featherstone against Whitehaven, Halifax Panthers against London Broncos, Keighley Cougars against Newcastle Thunder, Swinton Lions against Barrow, and the Betfred League 1, it's Doncaster against Hunslet, Midlands Hurricanes against Cornwall, and North Wales Crusaders against the Dewsbury Rams. Well, last weekend it was Challenge Cup Round 1 action as well. I'll give you the scores from that. It was Brent Wood Eels 34, Bedford Tigers 24, the British Army 12, Ashton Bears 28, Distington 4, Oral St James 16, Doncaster Tallbar 24, the RAF 36, Edinburgh Eagles 20, Saddleworth Rangers 30, Featherstone Lions 6, the Great Britain Police 20, Fryston Warriors 38, Thornhill Trojans 22, Hammersmith Hill Hoist 8, Dublin City Exiles 42, Hull Dockers 54, Ronda Outlaws 10, London Chargers 38, North Hearts Crusaders 12, the Royal Navy 28, Barrow Island 16, Skirlaw 16, West Warriors 26, Stanley 38, Milford 4, West Bowling 30, Waterhead Warriors 12, Westgate Common 36, Crossfields 18, Wigan St Pat's 22, Ince Rosebridge 30, and a couple of games on Sunday as well. Heworth 22, Alton Raiders 6, Jarrow Vikings 26, Mighton Warriors 40. So the second round draw, these games will be played on the 25th and the 26th of February. It's Mighton Warriors against Lee Minor Rangers, West Warriors against London Chargers, Hull Dockers at home to Midlands Hurricanes, Ashton Bears face Dewsbury Rams, Fryston Warriors at home to Stanley, Workington Town entertain Ince Rosebridge, Rochdale Hornets face London Scholars, Oral St James at home to the Dublin City Exiles, Rochdale Mayfield have got a heck of a trip, they're travelling down to Cornwall, Hunslet face Heworth, Siddle play West Hull, Brentwood Eels plays the Wathbrow Hornets, North Wales Crusaders face the Royal Navy, the RAF are at home to York Acorn, Lock Lane face West Bowling, Great Britain Police have got the Westgate Common, Hunslet play Pilkington Rex. Doncaster face Oldham, and finally Saddleworth Rangers face Thatto Heath Crusaders. That's all I've got for you this week. Take care, have a good week, and hopefully I shall see you on Friday night at the Lee Sports Village for Lee Leopards against Salford Red Devils. See you soon.
Start with the PDRL. They are at Robin Park in Wigan on Sunday for their first Rugby League festival. They play Hull at 1:30 and they play Castleford at 2:30. Obviously, after a successful sort of debut season last season, I'm sure they'll be looking for more success to come.
Yeah, and like you say, we've already had a player selected for rep honours. So yeah, good. It's just a shame the timing always seems to clash with other stuff. But yeah, hopefully through the season we'll see more and more of them. Down at the stadium, and I just wish them all the best. It's brilliant. And again, I'll just say to anyone complaining about council money, just go and watch them. Go and see what we're offering, what life choices we're giving, and what we're offering something that nobody else is doing. So yeah, brilliant. I've got all the best to them.
Yeah, Tima Hughes is the new captain. Obviously, the club will announce a squad nearer the time. So let's talk about the Wakefield game on Sunday. Wakefield are in a bit of a rut. Parker, we're in good form. Old Salford, you'd be thinking, here we go, banana skin. But Paul Rowley ball, we're a different beast now.
It's very hard to get out of. Immediately after the game on Saturday,
yeah,
the amount of people who said it's Wakefield next week, you know what that means.
Yeah,
right? Now that's us. That's inner Salford fan. That is. I bet you there's hundreds thinking the same thing. Like, oh, you can see what's going to happen here. But then, like you've just said, this is different. This isn't the Salford of old. This team is special. And I know Wakefield will be fighting for their lives, and they're not. I've looked at their squad, and it's not that much different to what it was last year. He had lost Tom Johnson, obviously, to Catalan, and a couple of others. I think one went to Hull or what. But as Jacob Miller went, didn't he? But they're still a decent team with some decent players. A lot of craft in there. Like Lino's a decent player, and he's a good lad. But I've got to be full of confidence after last week. The other thing is, I mean, yes, we lost at Warrington. We could have easily won that game with a bit of luck. And for that first half, we were miles better than Warrington, who are top of the league right now. We've been away to Hull and absolutely destroyed them. We've beaten Lee, who have since beaten Hull KR away and St Helens. We must be doing something right. We must be a decent team. So it's going to be interesting. I don't think it'll be the walkover people expect. I really don't. I think that Wakefield have still got a lot of respect and a lot, for some of them, the memory of last year will be in there. I think we put 70 odd on them at our place last year. And the only thing is, if we play the way we did at Hull and in the first 40 minutes against Warrington, I think we could be out of sight.
I think
it's a great opportunity for us to put a marker down now and say, this is where we're going forward. We've got a tough game the week after at Wigan, a place where it's a graveyard for most teams. But we'd go there with a bit of confidence, a lot of points under our belt. Who knows? These are the games now where, like I've said there, oh God, you know what can happen. We say that's the old stuff. That doesn't happen anymore, and we put these to the sword on Sunday.
Before PR, Paul Rowley. Before PR, we'll call it. We'll have the timeline before PR, after PR. Maybe that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, very much so. It is. It's a different mentality of a team. That I saw on Saturday was just incredible. Some of the skill involved, and if the ball sticks, we could beat anybody. And I mean that. I've got no fear of anybody in the league at all. So Wakefield struggling, low on confidence, probably low on bodies, not scored a point in 3 games. I mean that is a crisis. They will still be dangerous.
Yeah, I sort of asked Paul Rowley in a roundabout way, and he was like, "No, we're focused. It's not. We're only as good as the next game. We'll go into this. Wakefield are hurting, but we're not going to take our eye off the ball," which is music to my ears. I was like, "Yeah, that'll do for me, Paul. Carry on as you were." Like you said, got some good players: Reece Lynn, Liam Hood, Kevin Proctor. So you can't sort of ignore that. And also, obviously, the way the league's set up now, Parky, and the way obviously that big win at Hull gives us an opportunity for that springboard. And if we manage to beat Wakefield and results go sort of other ways, we can possibly springboard up towards the top, and then we are competing, aren't we, at the right end of the table, which is what we want to be as a club, don't we? Want to be in that race for the playoffs and the race to Old Trafford. We want to be in the mix, don't we? And it's part of the journey. It's part of the development of everybody, the club, the players, everybody. It's about wanting to learning to walk in these shoes for me.
Yeah, I think like you say there, if we're sort of fourth or fourth probably going into the Wigan game next week, but looking up, it just gives you so much confidence, and that's with key players missing. These lads have got to come back in. Like last year, when we got players back in towards the back end of the season, we got on a roll and we were unstoppable, and that could happen again. And at the moment, if we're already at a level with players missing, I mean, it's incredible. You throw Ollie Partington back in there and the Joe Burgess, and then the two lads, we've mentioned going out on loan, and there's still, still God knows how many players missing out of that squad. It's just incredible. And I think on Sunday is a chance for us to put a marker down for the rest of the season and show that last weekend wasn't just Hull being bad. Because that's what people will think if no matter what happens. But if we can put a score on and we play the rugby that we can play, it could get messy. And I'd feel for Wakey, I must admit. I've got no loyalty to Wakefield, but they remind me of us a lot in a lot of ways over the last God knows how many years. We've been on the end of them hidings. We've gone into games like this after not winning a game at the start of the year. It's hard. It really is. But that's the game. And it puts, Cass have got a game tonight. I don't know how they're going to be going on. But on Wakefield, if they both lose this weekend and we win, we go up to sort of 6. That gap is huge already. How are they going to win them games that we've got to lose? And we've got to play them teams anyway. I just think we're already that far up to the top 6 at the end of the season. There's a chance we can take 2 teams out of it, early on.
Yeah,
and that make just really excited. I can't wait to see the lads again, because this rugby we're watching is something special, really is. When we throw that ball about, it's just so exciting. We've got to earn the right to do that. We don't just throw it about because OKR things happen. But I really fancy us for Sunday, and I'm looking forward to it. Can't come soon enough.
Yeah, my prediction for Sunday, Paul, is Salford to win 42-6, Brodie-Croft hat-trick. What about you?
Well, it's weird that, because my prediction I put on my prediction thing this week, strange, it was not far off yours. I put 38-4. And it could be more. It could be. If we do get on a roll, we could be very, very destructive. But I think Wakefield are going to be playing for their lives. I don't know what the weather's going to be like, whether it's going to suit our handling, if it's going to be like it has today, where it's rained virtually all day. So, but no, it's going to be exciting, and just good to be going into games with such confidence, thinking we can win this, and then we go to Wigan the week after, and that's exciting to go to Wigan on an even footing with them, maybe, or whatever, and thinking we could turn these over. So this is a big game for us.
Yeah, I want to say a massive thanks to everyone who's listened to this Gargantua podcast. As I said before, I might have not said it online on record, but I refuse to cut quality. I do apologise. It's going to be nearly 2 hours long, but I just hope you've enjoyed it. I just hope that the quality, the content that sort of me, Paul, and sort of Parky do sort of produce for you that sometimes it does go on a bit long, but it's quality, and I refuse to cut quality. So so big thanks for tuning in, Parky. Another great show.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot on this week, hasn't there? It's been a busy week. I mean, the whole game obviously was fantastic with all the news and everything else. It's it's been brilliant, and thanks, like I say, thanks to everyone for listening. If you are and you're on your way to work or you're doing something else, remember that you can stop it and listen to us later on. You don't have to fit us all in at once.
No.
You take your time.
Yeah, and a massive thanks to everyone who donates through the Ko-fi. Yeah. Obviously, with a website and all the other programs that we use, and editing this podcast, with the program shaves a good hour off what I would normally do, which is sort of really, really big when you have to edit a nearly 2-hour podcast. But yeah, so massive thanks, for everyone who's done that. Like I say, big thanks. Tune into this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson. You can find us on Facebook, Devil in the Detail SRD. You can find us on Twitter at DITDSRD. And you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, and online too. Good luck, Reds. See you soon.